Okay, Colleen, we're going to probably do this a little bit together, and Colleen's done this before, so she's just trying to figure out which way to start probably at this point. But what we wanted to be able to share, I think, is Colleen's experience as a parent, and as a parent with a disability, and some of the struggles she's had in being able to keep her child, and what the child welfare system has sort of been like, and how it's been involved in her life. So is that okay? Is that a good start for you?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so you want to tell a little bit about how you lost your daughter and how you got her back?
Back in December 13th, 2001, my daughter was taken away from me. I was in at that particular day, I had just come out of a domestic dispute with my ex, relationship kind of thing. And yeah, she was taken, and she was 8.5 years old. She was gone for 4.5 years, and I couldn't understand why they were taking her away from me. I was a very devoted parent. I had made sure that she got into all the necessary programs for school, and
yeah, so it was a surprise to you when that happened. Did the workers ever say to you why they took your daughter away?
They said that they accused me of abusing her, physically and mentally and emotionally.
And so then what did they tell you that you had to do if you wanted to stay involved with your daughter? Do you remember those days?
Yeah, they told me that I had to have a roof over my head, I had to have food on the table, I basically had to keep myself clean. Although I don't do drugs, I don't drink. So they basically just kept telling me, keep doing what you're doing and you'll get your daughter back.
And they said that many times to you?
Many times over the next 4.5 years.
So you did those things, yes? You went to parent classes, you went for assessments?
Yeah, I did all the assessments, I did parenting classes, I went through a domestic abuse life skills class at DEXA here in Edmonton. I went through a 1-year program. I went back to work when I could. The thing is I couldn't go back to work. It was really hard to go back to work during this time because also I was in and out of court. For 3 years of that time I was in court trying to get better visits with my daughter and just better access to her.
So where was Ashley, your daughter, all this time while you were fighting to get her back? Where was she living?
She was in a number of foster homes. She went through 5 foster homes, I believe. She was in a group home for 1.5 years, and out of all that, the only good foster home that she was in there for about 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and to this day I still talk to her.
But you, all the time you're still trying to prove that you're a good mother and that you can have Ashley back. Yes?
Yeah.
So can you tell about that period when how she ended up in the group home, and then, you know, that sort of complicated period, do you remember?
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting for the audience to hear.
My daughter they took her out of the very good foster home and they put her in a group home. And they stuck her there for 1.5 years. And this funny situation was that every time that my daughter was on a school holiday or vacation, the group home would call me up and say, could you take her? And
because there wasn't enough staff.
Yeah, there wasn't enough staff. And also they told me that they would rather her be with me than with them. So at that point, that was towards the last year, 1.5 years or so, I realized that, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to do everything I can to get her back. And I mean, all the way through it I was. But this is when I realized, you know what, enough games have been played with me. So I basically, by fluke, I got a hold of, someone had phoned me from AACL asking me to donate clothes or household items. And I said, well, I have this situation where I want my daughter back. Could you help me? They referred me to a lady named Maureen Reed, and she was an advocate through AACL. And that's where I started the ball rolling. She came to every meeting that I was involved in with Children's Services. Every time Children's Services would come to my house, she was there too. She would come and come visit me and Ashley when I did have visits at my house. At that point, the last year before she was given back to me, she basically was coming to my house every weekend and every school vacation, like Christmas time, spring break, teachers convention, and also that year I was able to take her on a 2.5-week vacation to Ontario.
So in that time, you started to ask the child welfare people, why can't I have my daughter back, right? That was a really important question you had. What did they say to you then?
They told me that that's not what they were thinking of, and that basically I had to keep doing what I was doing. And I'm going, you know what, I've heard this so many times, I don't want to hear it again.
Did they ask if you said to them, have you had any complaints about me as a mother?
Yeah, that was when I came back from vacation and from Ontario. And I had, up until that point, I had no overnight visits with her for 4.5 years. So I had asked them, the week before I was going on holidays, I asked them if I could have her for that whole week to see what I was getting myself into, to see if I could actually be a parent again. So I asked them this. 2 days before I went on holiday, they just basically said, here, you can have her. So those 2 nights, although she was hyper, she was excited, we made the best of it, and the whole vacation, she was awesome. I had her for, it was about three weeks total I had her. When I got back from vacation, I said, look, this can't be going on. I have to have her more than this. So they gradually would come in and that September, they came in and they made a plan because I wasn't going to have it any other way. I told them that I had to have her back.
And in the end, that happened for you?
Yeah, she came back.
How long has it been now?
3 years.
Yeah.
She's been home for 3 years. She came home when she was 12, and she's currently 15 years old. She's currently attending high school, grade 10. She still is segregated in a school, which I was informed tonight that she wants to change to Rochelle next year.
So that's your new struggle?
Yeah, that's my new struggle.
Getting more inclusive education.
Yeah, so.
So I'm just going to explain a little bit about why we wanted to include this story as part of an understanding about the way in which systemic and pervasive oppression can occur. You know that I think it's maybe easier to understand Wendy and Sam's experience in light of what we understand about oppression and eugenics, and it's somewhat harder to recognize, I think, some people like Colleen in her situation where she's actually been oppressed because she's chosen to be a parent. We no longer are concerned about sterilizing people with disabilities so much. In fact, most of today's public opinion would be that it would be wrong to sterilize. However, there is still a lot of oppression and stigmatization and devaluation around being a parent and being able to get the support you need to be a parent that can have a good life with their children. I think that underlying belief of that devaluation is particularly clear if you get tied up in the child welfare system. I think over and over Colleen was told she shouldn't be a parent, she should just give up her child, that the experience in the foster care system was, I'm sure, much more damaging for Ashley than her life at home had been at that point or ever after. But it continued to be the professional view that Colleen could never prove herself as a good parent, no matter what she did.
Yeah, the court's exact words is, how could a person with a disability take care of a person with a disability? And I'm going, because I understand what she's going through.
And you happen to love her.
I love that girl.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of her, who she is today.
So we just think that's an important piece to the picture. Thank you.
Thank you both.